Hello everyone and welcome to this special video all about Google Stadia. My name is Ben.
My name is Peter, and with us today, he's just about to go in there.
Oh, it's me.
Someone special. It's Sam Driver from Cultaholic. Hello.
Hello.
Sam.
Hello. How you doing?
This is yours, right?
Yes.
This thing right here?
Yeah, I'm one of those people that got a Stadia.
Mm-hmm.
The Stadia Founders Edition.
Founders, is that what it's called?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
so
It says it there.
Founders Edition comes in the blue and orange, and that's it.
Oh,
Everything else they promised.
not quite there yet.
And you're not even just talking about colours, you're talking about lots of things that they promised.
Yes, got a list of things.
Yeah.
We're going to go into it now. It's when did it release? Was it Friday?
So the launch date for Stadia was November 19th.
Okay.
That was the day where the service went live. Access was supposed to start then. A lot of people were receiving units after the date or well before the date. And you needed a code to actually access the platform. So if you had the unit, you still needed a code. Or if you had the code, you wouldn't be able to really play unless you wanted to sit with keyboard and mouse without the unit.
Right. So what did the code actually do? Does it just activate your online services or?
It just sort of it allows you to enter Stadia Pro. I guess it's sort of like an authentication thing.
Like a CD key on an old PC
Gotcha.
game.
Okay, I see. You've now had it for a few days. How are you finding it so far?
I'm actually quite enjoying it.
Oh, okay.
There was a bit of a cluster of a launch, so they announced Stadia. Everybody lost their mind because it was like this whole, it's going to be Netflix but for games, and they never once said that. But people seem to think that because it was going to charge like $8.99 a month, that you'd get access like Game Pass, something like that. Really, it's more of a traditional model, like your standard sort of PS Plus. Stadia Pro, which is like the PS Plus model, you get a free game or two every month, and then Stadia Base, which launches next year, and that will be free, so anybody can use Stadia.
Right.
It's just sort of like it gets you access to a web store to buy games.
Okay.
Right.
But it's been all right. Like I didn't really buy it for the performance. Really, I bought it because playing on the go. You only really need to take the controller everywhere with you. Once mobile is fully enabled, you'll be able to do that. But yeah, I mean, it
is what it is.
It is
huh?
what it is.
What sorts of games have you been playing? Are they all relatively, sort of simple or indie style?
I've not played. I think it's Guilt. That's the only first-party game that they've released so far, which is sort of this weird little Nightmare style game. But
I've seen. Yeah, I know the one. Yeah.
The rest are sort of like Destiny, Red Dead, Tomb Raider, some games like Assassin's Creed that've been out for quite a while.
Okay.
And the Founders Edition came with Destiny 2 plus all of its DLC.
Right.
And Samurai Showdown, which is just some weird SNK fighter.
I didn't know they were, because I obviously knew that the likes of Assassin's Creed and Tomb Raider and stuff were going to it eventually, but I wasn't sure necessarily they'd be there from launch. So that's interesting.
I think they got really hammered because they announced 12 launch titles, and everybody was like, "What?"
Yeah.
When all of these things are already readily accessible via PC. Stadia runs off PCs away in some warehouse in Ireland, and all you're doing is sort of clicking into it and running.
Right.
So they had to bolster that to 22, I think. But we're still just waiting on the big titles. Still waiting on the big stuff.
The big question though, is does it actually work?
Yeah, that was my main question.
I have very limited experience with streaming games. I tried PlayStation Now before they let you
off streaming forever.
Right, before it let you download games, I tried that and it barely ran. I tried OnLive back in the day and that barely worked as well. So this is the $1 million or however many monies this cost, the £89 question. Does it actually let you play games reliably on a sort of standard internet connection?
So I have really crap internet. The building I live in is very old. They won't wire it for fiber because it's listed as something they just can't be bothered. And it's this whole rigmarole to get it. I get like maybe 10 to 15 meg standard, and it runs pretty flawlessly for me. I'm not playing in 4K. That's another thing with the Stadia Pro. You get access to 4K. If you just have the base, you don't. So that's kicking up a bit of a fuss because 4K is just becoming standard.
Yeah.
But for 1080, for what I'm playing for, I've not really experienced much lag. I've not experienced any latency issues.
Okay.
It's been all right. But the thing was, I saw a lot of reviews at the time. It was people, I think there was a Forbes one where the guy was like, we have gigabit internet. And he's in his office. And it's like, yeah, but you know, there's thousands of people in an office on that connection. So it's, you know, when I'm sat playing this, I'm not streaming music, I'm not streaming Netflix. But I mean, we tried it in the office the other day with 10 people on the connection, and it was a bit like. But,
okay, so it's kind of like I realized that, you know, the idea of streaming games has sort of been around for a little while, and has been tried by a few different companies, but not really worked just yet. So does this seem like the first steps into an arena where it actually could work, and it sort of harkens back to the days of dial-up where you have to dedicate nobody else can use Stadia, anything else but the Stadia.
Yeah, get off Netflix.
And it's
I'm
only,
trying to play Stadia.
It's only going to improve over time, but that's the kind of thing that people have to expect, at least in this early stage.
I think day one was the big day where it was like people were sort of experiencing issues with it. And it's day one's always going to be the worst day, and each day after that's going to be a slightly less worse day until it really gets up on its feet running. Because the whole thing with Stadia is like everything's launching next year. We've just sort of, for the first time in history, like paid for early access to a console, and I swore I'd never do that again after PS4 because that launch was agony for me.
For PS4?
Yeah, it just sort of, the launch titles just didn't really appeal to me.
Oh, you didn't like Killzone Shadow?
There was only so much Shadowfall I could play because it was the only bundle I could get.
Right.
But yeah, I think because there are so many features missing, like there's I've got a list here. So achievements you don't currently have. Whatever you do though will be backtracked to you.
Okay.
So like, you know, in 3 months, I'm just going to get 1 mega achievement.
Right.
Wider Chromecast support. It only uses, so if you're using it on TV, you need to buy the Stadia bundle with the Chromecast that comes with it, otherwise it just won't work. You got a 3-month buddy pass, which was supposed to come on day one as well, but.
So what's the buddy pass?
It's just like 3 months free of Stadia Pro to give to somebody.
Okay, that's cool.
The Stream Connect, which is local co-op, that's not here yet. Wireless Stadia controller support for PC, not here yet. But you can use Xbox One, PS4, pretty much any controller, and it works pretty fine through PC. But their own, for some reason, was impossible.
Okay.
4K in browser isn't here yet. Mobile parties and voice chat is a big one that's missing at this stage, especially when you're launching with like Destiny.
Surprising, but that's another thing that would probably drain your bandwidth, right?
Yeah.
Well, true. I guess
Possibly.
so. Yeah. I mean, audio chats aren't so.
No.
You know, they don't hammer you as much as video, but yeah.
You would hope not.
There is no save state sharing between devices yet, which I think they were trying to build a big.
It was a
thing
big
on. You can
sell,
just
yeah.
Take it backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
Crowd play, which is the more interesting one. It's like the big thing that they sold it on, which is you can stream, which you can't stream at the minute.
Okay.
But when you can be open streaming, your viewers, I think you're able to hand off control to some viewers.
Yeah, I think
so
I
they can
remember
play
Yeah, it was like
with
an
you.
interactive thing.
Yeah, which that's supposed to be coming again next year. And then 1080p in-unit video capture, you can't capture any of that natively yet.
Okay.
So all of these things.
So you've got a very basic model at the moment.
There are 2 buttons on the controller that do nothing right now.
Right. Which ones are those?
So it is the 2 central ones.
These two.
So
here.
one's Google Assistant, one is Share.
A share button.
So those two.
It is a nice controller, though.
It
We
is.
think.
Yeah, I think the triggers could do with a little bit more feedback or a little bit more resistance, but I think it's got that perfect blend of Switch Pro and DualShock 4.
It is quite DualShock in terms of the shape of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the D-pad.
It's even got L1 and L2 and R1, R2.
Oh yeah, they are
That
L1
is
and
nice.
L2. Yeah.
It just fits very nicely in the hands. It's quite weighty as well.
Yeah, I just think once they can iron out all of the current major problems with it, because the worst part of this is like there's so much negativity around it. The gameplay's never really been an issue. I think it's more that there was so much radio silence around the launch. It just sort of happened. Then people weren't getting their codes, and we paid for early access to get the codes. And then it was just thing after thing after thing. And then Stadia's subreddit is like managed by Google staff. So
Yeah, I
then
heard that.
Things just started disappearing.
like taking control of the
God.
Reddit, pretty much.
So yeah, there's that.
It's a shame though that you know, it's ironic in a way that as you say, the thing that probably people were most worried about was like latency and things like
Yeah.
that. And even on the launch event, when like there was some units for them to play, like
They were playing like Doom 2016 as well.
yeah, they were having like a real hard time with it, and like the press was saying there was latency in their own building at their own launch event. So
Yeah.
ahead of time, I think I was pretty worried how this was going to play.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't have got it had it not been so cheap. Like that's the other thing is like I'm not a PC gaming guy. One day maybe if I can afford to, just spaff $2,500-3,000
Yeah.
on a rig.
Right.
But like this gets me access to titles that maybe won't make it to other consoles, maybe some PC titles because there is keyboard and mouse support. Yeah,
But then, so they got that working, like the latency wise, and then the things that they were like really, really boasting about and sounded interesting, at the moment aren't there. Like all the stream implementation stuff and the in-game in-unit capture. It's a shame, really.
I think once it gets off the ground, if they don't lose third-party support over this absolute dumpster fire of a launch, it's possibly the worst console launch of all time. Even though it's not really a console, they're really ambiguous about what it is.
It's been very quiet.
Yeah, it's they just haven't responded. Like there was the whole period of people just not getting codes, because like you were supposed to have your order fulfilled in the order that you pre-ordered. So it's a lot of order. So if you were one of the first people, you'd be the first to get the code and the unit.
Right.
So it was supposed to go through that, and then all of a sudden on day one, loads of people from September were getting their codes, people from June weren't.
Right.
And they were just posting videos of games on their Twitter going, look at what you can now play. And everybody's like, no, we
Wow.
can't. But the second that the codes went out, it all just died. Like everybody seems to have settled down.
Okay. Talk to us about the UI. How does it feel to actually navigate I suppose it's, again, not the console, but just the software.
Service.
So you have to use your phone for the store. So the whole Stadia experience is built to be completely minimal, apparently. Like the UI itself is very, very, very minimal. You just sort of load up the console, all the games that you own. The last game you play will be central on the screen. The rest are just sort of underneath. You just drop down and move across. It looks sort of like Netflix.
Okay.
That you'd scroll down after the big featured video. Second you hit A, just boots it straight up. There's no waiting. Like if you buy a game, you just buy it and it loads straight away. There's no waiting. No
That's
nothing.
nice. It's been a long time since we had that, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, and it just, like, I think the UI itself works in the way that it takes the focus less. It takes the focus away from sort of the more social aspects of it for now, anyway.
Right,
And
and
it just
advertising
drives it
as
around.
well, I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
advertising.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
The store is quite expensive, though. That's the only thing
Is it?
right now. Yeah.
How much
So-
does it cost? How does the pricing model work for games? Can you like rent them for a certain amount of time, or do you just have to straight up buy them?
So there's no renting yet. They're going to try and implement a 2-hour test.
Okay.
So you can just sort of jump into a game for 2 hours, but that's probably a ways off. But it tends to be that most stuff's full price unless it's on some sort of special. But then if you're a pro member, you get like an extra discount. So for example, I could get Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I think. Yeah, Odyssey, the latest one, for £26.
Okay.
Whereas like a game that isn't on offer, like Grid, that's 56 quid.
Okay.
Right.
So it's very much, and there's the whole aspect, like I'm big into physical media. I collect a lot of old consoles and old games. But this isn't, again, it's not really why I bought Stadia. I bought that just so I can have something to do on the go,
Right.
without having to lug a console around. But I get the concerns over you're paying to access a stream of something, essentially. What happens if the service goes like belly up? Are you going to lose all of that money? Are you going to get a physical version or like a code to download it elsewhere?
Yeah.
I do think they may have to start implementing some sort of download, sort of like PS Now option if they really want to get into the market.
This is what I was going to ask. Really, this is the other big question hanging over Stadia: is are people ready for it? Because people are only just adopting digital game downloads and purchasing as their, that's now starting to overtake physical purchasing.
Yeah,
of
lots
games.
of people like to have still like to have physical. And
but yeah, so not only is there a huge amount of people who like physical, the people who are getting digital games are only just becoming okay with buying digital copies, but then they've at least got it downloaded and able to, they can play it offline. They can play it.
There's no need for a connection.
Right, and I realised that the whole point of Stadia is to be online and connected, but when you're paying those prices...
Yeah, it's Xbox One all over
taking
again,
home a game that, you could have it at home physically in a box for the same price. Are people going to go for that?
I think they're targeting a very specific demographic with it. I think with time, if they are able to stay afloat and keep this thing going, I think we'll see a lot more range in terms of the pricing of things and the structure of it. But with it being launched, and it's Google, they just want as much money as possible. Because if it don't make money, then it will be unceremoniously chucked on the pile.
Yeah.
Because again, Google.
Yeah, it's going to go with all the other services that they've killed.
It's just like, I don't know, if you sort of want to game on the go, you don't so much mind not having a game for like the PS4 if it's available across platform. And it's like, for example, I'd buy Red Dead for PS4 so I could have a physical copy of it. But I mean, PC gaming's been almost non-physical for so long now.
Yeah, that's true.
That I think if you can sort of get a lot of casual people across to that, but they're competing with so much anyway in the PC market with streaming. It's I think it's certainly the future of gaming, but I don't know how long it's going to take to really get there to the point where it can just overtake. Because in theory, Stadia, like, it doesn't need a new generation. It doesn't need any sort of because it's just data banks. They've just got to like do all the hardware, like on updates and on their end. And
we're going to need 5G probably before a stable 5G connection before we can actually play it on the go.
Once 5G rolls out, that's when it's going to like kick off big time.
Right.
But again, that's probably early next year at best in some of the bigger cities worldwide.
Yeah.
So you're there. You're there on the ground floor. I've got founder.
I've got a little sparkly red thing next to my name. That was it. A founder's badge. That was one of the other things.
Wow. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
You're the premium big boy.
That's me.
Are you enjoying it so far, though? Are you happy with your purchase?
Yeah, for the price of it, again, it costs £115, and about 70 of that is a Chromecast Ultra. So if it went belly up, it's like take
Still
40 quid on the chin or something.
Yeah.
But it's it does what I want it to do. I can just get in, I can play it, I can take it through to a different room, play on that TV. I'm enjoying like the sort of online multiplayer aspects of games like Destiny with stuff like this, and especially with the hardware, if the capabilities are there, we could start to see much bigger online multiplayer across that entire, platform, whatever Stadia deems itself as.
Right.
I guess it is quite nice to think in almost a sort of handheld portable console kind of way, that like all you have to do is take this with you to wherever it is that you're going, as long as there's an internet connection there.
Yeah.
And it's like you're carrying a load of AAA games just in a controller.
It's not even like you need that controller.
Well, no, you don't even need
you
that.
Just get one of those little clip-on controllers for your phone, anything. Like
once
it rolls out, because it's on Pixel right now exclusively. I think Google are doing this sort of slow launch on Pixel first, obviously to drive that, but there are people who are able to access it via like Chrome and workarounds on their phones. Seems to work pretty fine. There's like a claw peripheral they're adding, so the screen sort of hovers right above your hands.
All right.
Which but I think maybe jumped on it a bit too early.
Okay.
I think Google maybe should have been a bit more forthcoming with what was really going to happen at launch.
The features that were going to be present and not present.
Yeah, I think they should have just clarified it was more like a beta.
That's what it sounds like. I'm always
sort
of I kind of double take every time someone says the launch. It's like, oh yeah, it is the actual launch,
isn't it?
It's not like an early access thing.
Well, they're treating, I think, the launch of Base as the real launch.
Sure,
and that's when we're going to see sort of the bigger titles. I just hope that we get some more games on the platform before then, because it's going to be a long wait.
And that they've implemented like these USPs as well. Like, there's a lot going for it if they just add these things in.
There's a bit of an issue with the 4K as well. A lot of people who have the connection to do it and have been really excited about being able to play with the 4K, because again, that's part of their PlayStation Plus style Pro service. A lot of people are saying it's just upscale.
Oh, really?
So they've just stretched it. Google themselves are just sort of like, well, hopefully more developers will help us out.
Removing Reddit posts from the official Reddit.
Yeah.
For God's sake. Well, we'll have to check back in with you in a few months' time.
Yeah.
See how it's getting on in the new year when it properly rolls out and more of these services come online. But thank you very much, Sam.
That's all right.
For telling us all about Stadia. Our pleasure. If you'd like to see more of Sam and you like the Rassles, go check out Cultaholic, our sister channel, brother channel. What do we call each other?
Channel friends.
Our channel.
To gender our
channel friend. That's right. Our channel. Doesn't make sense, does it?
No. Their channel.
Their channel. Go check it out. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.